Rev up your engines! All right, here we go, Scotty, with the Tesla 2020 Model 3. Want to know about him? Well, here's the car. It's been driven for a little while, and I'm going to tell you all the truths about him. No doubting it's a beautiful car. And she's customized it. She put her own wheels on, which I agree with her. I like the look of these wheels better. And she also blacked out the Tesla to go with the black. I think that's a really good modification. Check the inside here. Look, you just push on the door handles and open it comes. It may seem odd to some people because there's no instrument panel here. It's all over here. It's kind of odd because it looks like you're driving down the road and there's nothing there, like you're on a shelf or something. But all the information, of course, is here. That does practically everything. Your maps, what's happening with the electric motor and the battery, your infotainment system, everything's in there. And it's got a beautiful black interior. I gotta say, it's nice. And the tinted sunroofs on it, there's a lot of leg room in this thing. Now, of course, it's an electric car. So, people are always worried, well, how far you can go? Well, lady who owns this, she's gone 235 miles and then recharged it. That's the furthest trip she went. And how much does it cost to recharge it? Well, most people like this, she says, usually costs about $6. Now, on the other hand, you gotta realize the price of the car. Now, this was like a $44,000 car, but she had negative equity, so she's got more closer to $60,000 in the car now, but that's because of the equity, not because of the car. She could have gotten a car for about $45,000. So the $6 fill-ups, you still have to equate it to the price of the car. Now, if you're near a Tesla supercharging center, when it's empty, it's taking her about 45 minutes to fully charge it up. But if you have a 240-volt charger at your house, take about 8 hours to fully charge. And if you plug it into 120 volts, you're going to be waiting a couple days. So you want to get a 240 charger if you buy one of these. Now, this is a classic rear-wheel drive version. The electric motors are in the back. Now, being rear-wheel drive has a few disadvantages with the power that this thing has. She recently spun out in the rain, hit a curb. It didn't do any body damage, just bent stuff underneath. If she would have spent more money and got an all-wheel drive one, it probably wouldn't have spun out. She was definitely going too fast for the rainy weather, but if it would have been all-wheel drive, I doubt that she would have lost control of the car. Now, since she bought this one, the price has actually gone down to $37 for this model. If she would have bought the four-wheel drive one today, the four-wheel drive version would have been $47,000. So you're paying like $9,000 extra for the all-wheel drive. But take my advice, if you drive like a maniac, and these are very fast cars, get the all-wheel drive version. Pretty quiet car, but listen. It does make a little sound because by law they have to make noise. They don't want you sneaking up on people. Outsiders have to hear something. All right, really, the only thing you hear now is the tires. You hear the tires on the ground. They're always going to make noise because there is some friction. You can't get rid of the tire noise. It's already going to have a little bit of sound. Slow down, you can feel the regenerative braking. Look at this, I took my foot off the gas and it stopped before the stop sign. These things are very easy to stop and they're regenerating a bunch of electricity. No worried about the California stop. Look, this thing stops itself. I didn't have my foot on the brake. Oh, here are the tires going down the road. It's a new experience. It still freaks me out when I look straight ahead. It looks like I'm looking at somebody's kitchen counter. You gotta look over there for the information, but it is weird. It's like you're not driving a car. And there's no gear shift over here. There's an electronic one here, though. It doesn't take long to figure this stuff out. It's only common sense. It's got the usual park, reverse, neutral drive. Take it out for a little country drive, quiet, and it does handle like a dream. It's all electronic, and they figured the computer stuff out, so there's no oversteer or understeer. It's really a well-handling vehicle. And as we all know, and if you don't, you're gonna know now, electric motors have 100% torque and power as soon as you step on the gas. So we'll step on the brake first, and then we'll step on the gas. So here we are, nice and quiet. Let's step on the gas. And does it take off? Yes, it takes off. Now, maybe not as fast as the 1,250 horsepower Supra that I drove a few months ago on the same road, but hey, it's got a lot of oomph to it. And you have no lost control. Look, no hands, track's perfectly straight. Great for country drives. Because if you notice up above, there's all kinds of telephone poles. They do have electricity here in Tennessee. Now we're getting a little of the twisties. This thing handles like a dream. It really has a good suspension system. There's no arguing that. It's not raining or snowing or ice. If you live in snowy ice conditions, I'd say fork out extra for the all-wheel drive. For you numbers freaks, it's 285 horsepower, but 307 pound-feet of torque. Just understand, that's electric power, not gasoline. You get in a gasoline car, you gotta rev the engine up. The horsepower is until higher RPMs, but this is an electric motor running off a big old electric battery. As soon as you step on it, you get full power all the time and full torque. So it's completely different. There's nothing to rev up. You just step and go. There's no rev mashing. There's no shifting gears. And of course, there's no normal maintenance. You don't have gasoline engine, oil filter, spark plugs. Forget that. You don't have a transmission. You got to change the fluid in. It's got electric drive motors. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. And here's the frunk. No motor, of course. Granted, it's not that huge. There's all kinds of electronics in here, but kind of like an old Volkswagen Beetle with a space in the front. Now there's one thing you have to realize about Teslas. The man does not share his information with anyone. I've been a mechanic for 53 years. I go to my all data information system that has most cars in the world. Doesn't have Teslas. They will not share repair information with anyone. You're at the beck and call of the dealership when it comes to repairs. Now of course it's new electric cars. They get a lot of software updates and stuff like that, but they're kind of playing by a different ball game, because you take a normal car, it's got an OBD port. By law it has to, because it's a gasoline engine, and that has a lot to do with the pollution that the car puts out. If it puts out too much pollution, your check engine light comes on. Being an electric car, it doesn't put out pollution directly, so they don't have to go by any of those laws. So they don't have to give any of that repair information out by law, because they're electric cars. Now I gotta say, they're beautiful, quiet cars. The prices are coming down. This particular one was like $45,000, and it's a 2020, and the new models they're saying now it's $37,000. They're realizing they're overpriced because the market is going to change with electric cars radically. There's a Chinese company that now makes electric cars, and they're selling them in China for less than $5,000. So the prices are certainly going to be coming down on these more expensive ones. Now, is the infrastructure of the United States ready for millions of electric cars? Probably not. You have to consider that as of 2021, Tesla sold a little bit less than 500,000 cars worldwide. So we're not talking about a massive amount of electric cars out there yet. If you're comfortable with a car, then you put a 220 volt charger on your house that'll fully charge it in about 8 hours. And if you're near a Tesla supercharging station, it can take 45 minutes to charge it up. And if you're traveling around, of course, the fancy computer screen is going to show you how much you should have left. And like right here, it says 66% and you run low. It'll show you the nearest charging station that's around. In most cases, it's not like you're stuck in the middle of the desert with no water. There's lots of places that can have cars charged up. But in one of these Teslas, do not run out until you're almost completely out of power, and then you go to somebody's house and you're going to plug it into a 110 volt charger, because it will probably take days to get a full charge by then. That's going a little bit too far. Now, you never know what the future's going to bring. There's already places in Canada and Europe I've seen where guys have a pickup truck to rescue people, and they have a big battery pack or a generator on it, and they can supercharge it so that in 10-15 minutes you can get another 40 miles of range and you can drive to a place with a supercharger on it. If electric cars get popular enough, there's going to be lots of services like those around. But I always joke with people back in Houston, imagine if there were 1.5 million electric cars in Houston. The freeways would be just covered with people on the side of the road with cars that had no electricity left. And of course, you can't jump start them. You jump start them, they'd go, and as soon as you disconnected the cables, they'd stop running. So it'll probably be a long time before electric cars become a generic thing that everybody drives. These are unique vehicles for people that, if they understand what they're getting for what they pay and they're happy with it, they're excellent vehicles. Now me, I'm a cheapskate. I'll keep riding around my $300 Celica. Although I have to admit, and I'm asking again, if anybody out there is coming out with an electric motor conversion kit for the Celica, send me one, bring it over. I'd love to convert it over. It would make an interesting thing to do. Or be in my wife's $3,000 Lexus. That's my idea of luxury. A beautiful car for $3,000. But on the other hand, like I said, the prices of these has actually come down. That the base Model 3 is now down to like $37,000. Now she modified it with these cool looking wheels, which are an inch bigger, and she noticed she has a little bit less acceleration, and of course, being heavier, there's more mass, it'll use a little bit more electricity. But if it only costs you $6 to fill the thing up with electricity, who cares if you spend another $1? So there you have it, the actual truth about a Tesla Model 3, so you can make a wise choice yourself. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.